Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Speaker Mike Johnson keeps telling the truth to CNN, and of course, CNN and its audience aren't going to accept it. Let's dive in.
Once this goes into effect, which is after the midterms, people will feel cuts who are not necessarily...
Yeah, those young, able-bodied men who are sitting at home playing video games? That's a big portion of it.
Not just them.
Look at the studies.
But when you see the $1 trillion that they do want to put back into this, you don't think that what they are doing is politically palpable for even a lot of people in your district?
There's one reason and one reason alone that they're making this argument.
They will see cuts to Medicaid.
Here's the motivation. Let's just cut to the chase. Chuck Schumer is doing this. The reason he switched his position that he's had for 30 years right now and doing the exact opposite that he said in March of this year, as recently as March, is because he is in political jeopardy. He's afraid he's going to get a challenge from his left flank and AOC or someone else will run against him for his Senate seat. So Chuck Schumer has to put up a fight and pretend that he's fighting the president, fighting Republicans.
I've been in this town maybe even longer than you, and so I've seen politics played on all kinds of things.
That's fair, but I'm telling you what's happening right now.
I want to talk about something you said this morning about Chuck Schumer. You said Schumer has now handed the keys to the kingdom to the executive branch, and that a shutdown can provide an opportunity to, quote, downsize the government. I just want to be clear. Do you think that the OMB, the executive branch, should use this shutdown as an excuse to permanently fire federal workers?
Well, I can tell you right now, the president has been a benevolent president. He is mitigating the harm right now. OMB has not come out of the blocks and fired a bunch of people. That's not what's happening.
But do you think they should?
Well, it provides an opportunity. Chuck Schumer has provided the Trump White House with an opportunity to downsize the government on priorities and policies and personnel that they deem to be non-essential. Now, Chuck Schumer has very different priorities about the federal government than
What's your priority?
Republicans.
You're the Speaker of the House. You can say
I certainly want to downsize the size and scope of the federal government.
So you think that the people who are maybe furloughed right now or even, working without pay should be on the chopping block for permanent dismissal?
I wouldn't say that, because the people that are furloughed right now are hardworking American federal workers.
Who should be fired during the shutdown?
I don't know. You'd have to show me a proposal of what is being presented.
I don't have a proposal.
I don't have it either, but I have a conference call with Russ Vought at OMB in about 2 hours, and we're going to ask him about the details of that. But I'll tell you right now.
So this is happening.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to find out what his plans are. But I will tell you this. Right now, who's being harmed are women, infants, and children. Their nutrition program is stalled. Veterans who are not getting their services right now. Suicide prevention, that's a day-to-day thing.
No question.
They're unfunded.
I mean, it's horrible.
FEMA's not funded right now for insurance
That
policies.
is temporary. So you're going to talk to Russ Vought, and obviously we're going to ask what happens after that. But last week, he sent a memo directing agencies to start drafting plans
to
do
his job.
Just this.
So when you're the director,
but you have a point of view. Can you, on that phone call, say with him, please don't do this? This is not appropriate?
No, because, look, if Russ Vought has to make tough decisions. Whoever is the director of the Office of Management and Budget in a scenario like this has to make tough choices. They have to decide. They're tasked under law. They must decide what are essential services and what are not. What are policies and proposals that are priorities.
It's usually temporary under a shutdown. We're talking about permanently firing people.
Well, I'm not sure that hasn't happened before, but if the authority is there and he sees a program that is wasting taxpayer dollars, you and I could both agree the government doesn't do everything in the most efficient manner.
Constitutionally, that's your job. Article 1, that is your job.
It is until Chuck Schumer decides to hand the keys to the president, which is literally what he's doing. If he makes the decision to shut the federal government down, he's shutting down the legislative branch, and he is giving the authority to the executive. That's how the system works, and he's made that decision. So is it foolhardy for him to do so? Of course it is. Could it backfire fantastically? Yes.
I'm a little surprised that you are okay with that.
No, it's part of our system, Dan. It's part of our constitutional system. The president and his team are tasked.
There's nothing in the Constitution that says if there's a shutdown.
No, it's not. No, because the founders couldn't have foreseen such a foolish thing that's happening right now. They would understand, and they implied what Congress's first role is to make sure the government operates, right? But in a scenario like this, if the Congress's hands are tied by the minority party who will not do the right thing, then the power shifts to the executive. That's not Mike Johnson doing that. That's Chuck Schumer doing that.
I just might need to start apologizing about any other comments I've made about Mike Johnson in the past. He is perfect for this interview role, and it's ironically because he is not really that masculine. As a matter of fact, he's almost answering these questions with this feminine code like, yeah, Chuck Schumer's the problem here. Yeah, you've completely got that wrong. And here's why. Instead of, no ma'am, that is completely incorrect. Hear the different tone of voice and the way I'm looking around, and instead of doing the kind of facial expressions, it's the more straightforward with a clearer voice. That's sort of the difference between being feminine or masculine. And being a bit of a theater kid, I'm good at moving in between them whenever I need to get a certain point across. But Mike Johnson is right now on CNN talking about the Schumer shutdown and reminding everyone in that audience with perhaps the only way that they fully understand, because so many of these Democrats are more feminine coded than they are masculine. With the most masculine being guys like Fetterman, who crossed the picket fence, so to speak, to vote with the Republicans, or Eric Swalwell, who really can't decide whether he's going to look nerdy with his glasses or if he's going to continue to be a masculine presence. That's really the best they have on their side. Notice only one of them's a senator, by the way. So, Mike Johnson is simply answering a question that I actually feel sorry for Dana Bash. She has no other way to get at these talking points without sounding a bit ridiculous at the time. See, here's her position. Here's her problem. CNN hates Donald Trump, but CNN needs to bring up Trump and Trump's potential problems in order to get better ratings. However, in order to get better ratings, in order to, say, have journalistic integrity, they've got to ask questions in a certain way. And instead of asking Mike Johnson of, what's going on with any potential negotiations, Mike Johnson says, actually, we're going to have some negotiations this afternoon. Dana Bash did not know about this. Again, this is why Mike Johnson did such a good job here. He waited until she asked the questions to reveal more parts of the answer. Something I need to learn in my life, you don't need to answer everything in long form. You can keep holding on to knowledge, and that's why Mike Johnson has survived for so long and has done a decent job, at least better than what we've had previously. But it's done a decent job of holding things together and also making it possible and being more accessible to the media than guys like McCarthy ever could. And so Dana Bash, again, has another issue. And this is her best card to play. Why are so many government employees set to be permanently terminated? Well, back once Trump got into office, I believe he gave them an 8-month offer saying, hey, after 8 months, if you want to leave your position, here's your letter of resignation. We're going to give you a furlough. We're going to give you a couple of other benefits. But yeah, if you take this deal, that means you are legally leaving in 8 months. Basically giving the rest of the government the time and ability to basically straighten up and toughen up when all of these layoffs occur. This isn't a mass firing. This is an agreement to part ways. This is a divorce. And Mike Johnson doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to keep it on. He doesn't want to talk about the executive branch. He wants to talk about the Senate. He wants to keep the message on the Democrats. So he's going to change his answer a little bit because of that. And I don't blame him whatsoever. But I have no such qualms. I have no such reins. I'm able to tell a little bit more about the truth. I think that's why y'all watch me. I'm still trying to figure that out. But the reality is, folks, Mike Johnson has his goals, and it's the Republican goals for Congress. The Senate goals are going to be something different. And so Dana Bash is throwing anything she can against the wall here, and it's just not working. And maybe there's a bit of a understanding even on her part that her party has screwed up. Because Chuck Schumer allowed the filibuster to sort of be scuttled last time this issue loomed back in March, and the rest of the Democrat Party was furious with him. So now he's trying to show a force, but he's also, he's in between a rock and a hard place. He's got to show that he's got some fight in him. He's got to show that he can get some concessions. Problem is, that's not how this continuing resolution would work. So he's made a play hoping that Americans will blame the Republicans for the government shutdown, and Mike Johnson is already the guy to explain this setup properly because that's where his mind is best. While his mind isn't good at winning and defeating Democrats, he is good at making sure all the sludge moves. This is what is necessary for someone who is Speaker of the House, and it's something that I don't like talking about because I like winning. Okay? I'm a Braves fan right now. I'm not happy Brian Snitker is leaving. We got a couple of problems with the team. We're not in the postseason. But that still doesn't mean I'm not going to fight anymore, be a fan anymore. It just means that I need to bide my time, then help my team fight again, and what little a fan can actually do. Mike Johnson sort of has that mentality, though, on the other side. He's trying to make sure that we get to the end of the season and make sure that team continues to move forward. And now we've reached the end of the season where you can't get into the postseason. What do you do next? Well, you start negotiating with your general manager and have a new plan. Most congressmen actually do think in these terms. Just not as good as baseball executives do, or else they would be they'd be in the MLB and they wouldn't be in Congress. But what I'm trying to explain is why the Democrat Party thinks that they're going to win this time, even though government shutdown has hurt them nearly every single time. Mike Johnson is indeed playing a long game. And as much as I would like him to go harder after the Democrats, I constantly have to remind myself, as someone who has been a part of the legislative process, as an intern in three different internships, 2 state capitals, lived just outside Capitol Hill, I've seen the way sausage is made, and it's ugly, but he's good at it. Mike Johnson is good at this, not elite by any stretch of the imagination, and Dana Bash is also out here trying to get her goals accomplished, but even CNN seems like they're starting to get tired of Democrat nonsense. And maybe, just maybe, Chuck Schumer might be able to take away some energy from the loon wing of the Democrat Party and bring them back into some normalcy. But I don't think the primaries are going to look too good for them if they do. That's the problem they're facing. And forget the fact that the government is shutting down. Hooray. But that's the problem they're facing. Mike Johnson knows he has a better hand, but he's also smart enough not to be smug about it. And Dana Bash, bless her heart, she's trying her best, but CNN, they're starting to see the writing on the wall too. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.